Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we're going to paint on wood slices with acrylic gouache. Let's not fuss around and get right into it. So I'm gonna paint 3 slices in this video, and at first I used some gesso. I got this huge box of gesso and used it for the very first time. It says to do 2 layers, but I'm a rebel, so I only did 1. And then I used some Turner acrylic gouache, and this is very similar to acrylic paint. The main difference I think is that it's matte and it has a little bit more of a gouache-like consistency. I personally think that it's easier to work with than acrylic paint, but you can also use acrylic paint for this project. I would just not use water-soluble gouache because it's not as durable, but yeah, acrylic paint or acrylic gouache would work really well for this. And if you prime with gesso, you can probably also use all kinds of other media. I've also seen people use Posca pans on these. But since they all seem to dry out in one of my last projects,
I was so committed to using paint markers and they all dried out. And I was squeezing every little bit of paint out of these markers.
I decided to not go with Posca pens this time, and I tried to put as many details on those tiny slices as I possibly could. And I'm actually really proud that I managed to get so many details on there. I mean, these slices are pretty small, and I've already once tried to paint wood slices and it didn't work that well. But this time it worked much better because these slices were made to be painted on. I think that those came from Arteza. I think they sent me those at one point. They sent a lot of people a lot of stuff at one point, and I got a few things still left over from when I got them, and I was really happy with them actually. I had a really good time painting on them. I have no idea how it would be without the gesso. I still have to try that at some point. But this was a very, very fun experience and I was really positively surprised. So here's the first one. And now I'm gonna pick my color scheme for the next one. And starting with the background, this is gonna be a little landscape. And by the way, if you want to learn how to paint the landscapes with gouache, then go ahead and check out my gouache course that you can get on my website. You will learn how to step by step recreate this painting, no matter what skill level you're on currently.
Go ahead and learn how to paint this.
So you can see that I'm blending the background here, and I'm not blending it perfectly. I wanted some brush strokes to be visible because I wanted that effect. And then I started to draw the foreground and realized I was off center because the hole was a little bit in another direction. So I kind of changed my design a little bit, and this in the foreground is supposed to be a lake. You will see that in a minute. And then some greenery around that, and actually I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It's a very stylized landscape kind of thing, and I'm really happy with that. I think I'm gonna do more things like this in the future. And I also really like using a limited color scheme and not throwing a million colors on something, even though I really like colors, but just limiting myself for the pieces to not go overboard has been a very good idea lately. So here you can see that we have those swans in the foreground. Here are a few bubbles, and I'm picking the colors for the next one. Here you can barely see through that my girlfriend started painting something behind that. Let me know your guess what that is. I'm not gonna tell you what they started painting there, but maybe you have a guess what it could have been. But they kind of abandoned that project, and I decided to use those wood slices because they were not gonna finish that, and I don't really like things going to waste, even though I have a million art supplies and there will probably go things to waste, but I'm trying my hardest to use everything. And you can see that I started doing this moth, and I think moths and gouache go very well together. I love these designs, and I just really had a lot of fun with this one. And I also got inspired by Mira Byler because she does a lot of wood slice painting and a lot of folk art style things with gouache. And I had no idea what folk art is, but after she mentioned it at one point, I Googled it, and it looks amazing and very similar to the style that I often go for, or would like to go for rather. And so thank you, Mira, for giving me this clue to getting a bit closer to finding my style. And here you can see I'm adding the little details on the moth, and the moth is not completely symmetrical. So I mean, the wood slice is also not symmetrical, so it's not completely my fault that it's not symmetrical. And this dot was a bit too big, so I covered it up, and here you can see the finished product. I really hope you enjoyed all of the designs that I created today and got some inspiration for your own art. Don't forget to check out my gouache course if you're interested in learning more about landscape painting with gouache. I hope I can see you again next time. Goodbye!
1, 2, 3.
Sing la da 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 da. This is weird inception. I have a lot of cameras. And I even have a tattoo camera.